The world is locked in ice and wind, a time when oceans themselves freeze into vast white bridges. Against this brutal backdrop, a small band of Australopithecus emerges onto the edge of the savanna, their fur dusted with frost, their eyes narrowed against the sting of cold air. They do not hesitate at the sight before them, a horizon of frozen water stretching farther than vision can reach. Hunger drives them. Thirst presses against their ribs, and the fading scent of roots and fruits behind them leaves no choice but forward. They drag with them bundles of sharpened stones, skins of leaves folded into vessels for water, and the youngest carried in strong arms wrapped in grasses. Their migration is not just across land, it is toward the unknown, across a frozen ocean that glitters like a graveyard of stars. Each step is a test. The ice groans beneath their weight, a sound like thunder in the stillness threatening to fracture and swallow them. A gust of wind tears across the surface, cutting through skin and bone, and yet they press on their bodies, hunched, their faces set, with primal determination. Their rhythm is dictated by survival, move, breathe, endure. Behind them, the savanna they left roars with storms and dwindling resources. Ahead lies uncertainty, but also hope. As the sun dips, shadows stretch across the frozen expanse. The band gathers in a circle, crouched low, striking stones to coax sparks. Dry fibers of grass and brittle wood, carried carefully from the land they left, ignite into a trembling flame. Around it, steam rises from their damp fur as they huddle together. Fire becomes more than warmth. It is the symbol of their defiance against a world that wants them erased. Yet danger prowls even on the ice. A shadow moves at the horizon, a hulking predator that stalks the frozen seas. The great saber-tooth, driven from its hunting grounds, has followed the band's scent, its muscles rippling beneath striped fur, its fangs glistening in the fading light. The Australopithecus sense it long before it strikes. The hair along their backs bristles, their eyes dart. The first conflict has begun. The band spreads wide, gripping sharpened stones and frozen branches, their bodies quivering with both terror and resolve. They scream together a chorus that cuts the silence, brandishing fire at the encroaching predator. The saber-tooth growls, pacing along the edge of their circle, seeking weakness. Then, with explosive speed, it lunges. The ice fractures under its weight, and the tribe erupts. Stones, fly torches, stab, bodies collide. The struggle is chaos survival distilled to its rawest essence. Blood from the beast splatters onto ice steam rising in the cold air. At last, one sharpened stone finds its mark, striking deep into the predator's flank. The saber-tooth stumbles its roar, echoing into the night, before retreating into the darkness. The band does not celebrate. They breathe, they shake, they live. The frozen ocean still stretches before them, a test yet unfinished. But in this moment, they know unity is their only weapon, and survival is their only song. The night deepens, and the stars blaze with pitiless brilliance above the frozen expanse. The band of Australopithecus huddles closer, their fire a fragile ember in the vast emptiness. They gnaw at strips of sinew and frozen meat torn from the fallen predator, chewing slowly, teeth cracking against ice that clings to the flesh. This meal is both triumph and reminder. Life is taken, never given freely. Yet their bodies gain strength, and with that strength comes the will to continue. Dawn arrives with a sky painted crimson, and the wind howls like a beast across the frozen plain. They rise, stamping stiff limbs, binding their bundles tighter, carrying the young against their chests. Every step forward becomes a drumbeat of endurance. The ice creaks beneath them, groaning like an old giant. yet it holds. They march their shadows stretched long and thin across the endless white. Hours into the day, hunger gnaws again and thirst burns the throat. The fire they carry smolders in stone cradles filled with embers fed by dried grass carefully guarded. But the ocean offers no fruit, no roots, no shelter. It offers only desolation. Then, at the far edge of the horizon, a miracle dark shapes breach the ice. Seals. They bask along fissures in the frozen crust, sleek bodies steaming against the cold. The band halts, their breaths quickening. Opportunity demands courage. They creep forward in silence, spreading out, gripping stones sharpened by their own hands. The seals lift their heads, nostrils flaring, whiskers twitching. For a heartbeat, time freezes with them. Then the band erupts, charging across the ice. Shouts split the air. Stones fly, bodies slam forward with primitive ferocity. Some seals slide back into the black water, but one is caught. The clash is violent, desperate. The seal thrashes its body slick with ice, its cries piercing. The Australopithecus cling with raw strength, striking again and again, until the creature lies still. The victory is short-lived, for the ice beneath shatters with a deafening crack. A jagged fissure slices across their path, splitting the ground beneath their feet. Water erupts, black and freezing, threatening to swallow them whole. Panic spreads, but instinct sharpens. The band scrambles, dragging the carcass onto solid ground, clutching one another to safety. They collapse in a trembling heap, the ocean's mouth snapping shut behind them. The seal's blood stains their hands, but its fat and flesh mean survival. Fire hisses as meat roasts above it, and oil is smeared on cracked skin to guard against the cold. They eat greedily, eyes darting to the horizon where new dangers always wait. But food is not the only gift. Bones from the carcass are broken, sharpened, shaped into tools that will serve for the journey. Spears take form tipped with jagged shards born of hunger, but destined for defense. As night falls again, their fire roars brighter, fueled by the fat of the seal, a beacon against the dark. Yet in the flicker of flames, shadows stir at the edge of vision. Another band of Australopithecus approaches, drawn by the smell of burning fat and victory. Their figures loom against the firelight, their eyes reflecting hunger and suspicion. The second conflict begins not with beasts of fang and claw, but with kin who hunger just the same. The two bands face each other on the frozen plain, the firelight crackling between them, steam rising from roasted meat. Eyes narrow, shoulders hunch, fists tighten around sharpened bones. The first band clings to their seal, to the tools carved from its body, to the life it represents. The newcomers step closer, their ribs visible beneath fur, their hunger stronger than caution. For a moment, silence reigns. Then a scream tears the air, primal and raw, and the clash begins. Bodies collide, stones swing, bones strike. The ice beneath them shudders with the weight of their fury, the fire scattering sparks across the night. Survival has turned against itself, kin against kin. Life against life. Yet, in the chaos, a child cries out a sound, pure and sharp as flint. Both bands freeze their eyes, drawn to the fragile figure, trembling at the edge of the firelight. Breath hangs in the frozen air. The cry cuts deeper than any weapon. It is the reminder of why they fight, of what survival truly means. Slowly, weapons lower. Shoulders loosen. The bands circle one another warily, then crouch around the fire together, the seal divided between them. Meat is shared, bones passed, flames fed. It is not trust, not yet, but it is survival made stronger by unity. The storm comes before dawn, shrieking across the frozen ocean, tearing at fur and fire. But the bands endure, huddled together, shielding the young, feeding the embers, holding fast against the wrath of the wind. By morning, the sky clears, and across the horizon a miracle appears: land. A jagged coast, dark cliffs rising from the sea of ice. A promise of roots, water, and shelter. Weak but unbroken, the united band drags their weary bodies forward, the frozen ocean groaning beneath their steps. One last time. When at last they reach the shore, their cries rise into the cold air, voices rough yet triumphant. They collapse on solid ground, hands pressed to soil, tears mingling with laughter. Fire is lit again, brighter than before, flames dancing against stone. Around it they feast not only on meat, but on relief, on the bond forged in battle and storm. For a moment, the world is still. The frozen ocean lies behind them, a graveyard they conquered, and before them spreads a land waiting to be claimed by survival. Their migration is not merely a crossing of distance, it is the forging of myth. From this night of fire and frost, the memory will echo through generations that humans once walked on oceans, fought beasts and kin alike, and survived not by strength alone, but by unity.